moment, but we promise to unmute you towards the end of the program tonight. So welcome to our first ever High Holiday Forum. This next hour will be an opportunity to hear directly from the High Holiday Task Force regarding what to expect at Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur services, which are right around the corner. Since we are living in unprecedented times and continue to navigate the COVID-19 health crisis impacting our community, our country, and the entire world, the leadership of Bethel is determined to provide high holiday services that are safe and virtual, but handled meaningfully. So before we begin, we're going to just do a quick review of the schedule and what will happen within this next hour. So we're going to begin with talking about transformation to virtual and sacred spaces, an overview of our virtual high holiday program, our spiritual virtual prayer experience, music, children's programming, and more, rehearsal and production, what that's going to look like. And then at the end of our presentation, we will open up the floor to any questions that all of you might have for each one of us. So let's begin. Unfortunately, as we are all well aware, we cannot be physically together for the high holidays. Bethel is not the only one facing this dilemma. Every synagogue is in the same situation and making similar decisions. We established our own high holidays task force to devise an engaging, uplifting, spiritual experience for Bethel amidst the pandemic. Before I hand it over to Rick, who is the chair of the High Holiday Task Force, to explain the details, let's talk about how you can create your own sacred space in your home. Last week, I sent out a newsletter with some examples on how to create your Mikdash Ma'at, a sacred space in your home to help feel the sanctity of the holiday. Your Mikdash Ma'at might feature a computer hooked up to a large TV screen to view the service, or placing the computer outdoors to create a socially distanced prayer experience with your friends and your family. The newsletter offers many other creative ways to make the holiday special. I hope you consider the suggestions and implement some of them in your home on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. So at this point, I'm going to ask Rick to provide you with an overview of what to expect for the holidays.
Thanks, Liz. We started doing this probably at the end of April, when it became apparent that we probably weren't going to be able to congregate and that everything was moving toward virtuality. And basically, we started by looking at what every synagogue which had ever done virtual, what they did. And we looked at videos, we looked at programs, we looked at everything that United Synagogue of Conservative Judaism sent out to all of its various listservs. And we got suggestions from various congregants, and we all started brainstorming and discussing what we needed to do. The first thing we decided was, for this to be worthwhile at all, it couldn't just be people looking at a screen. There had to be congregational participation in what we were doing. It's what Bethel's always been known for. So how do you do that in the virtual scenario? What we came up with was to add things to our normal service, to add readings, poems, add thought pieces, add things like how are you dealing with COVID? How are you dealing with life in general? And we're trying to, the rabbi is going to ask you specifically and to talk specifically about this in his piece, but that's one of the things that caused us to come up with our motto, in effect, from our house to your house. And the idea is that you don't just look at the screen, that you be able to participate in different ways, and hopefully by being a participant yourself. Some things will be pre-recorded, like the choir is pre-recording. Um, the Pasternaks will present prior to Kol Nidre. They're pre-recorded. There may be other things, but we're trying to do as much live as we can through our virtual system. Now, let me run through what's going to be on our program. Obviously services, but there are going to be other things besides the services. As much as we can, we're going to emphasize music, and there may be some surprises yet we're still working on in terms of the kinds of music we're going to present. This is not just a presentation for people who are 60 and over. Hopefully we have a congregation of all different kinds of demographic, and we hope to be able to provide things that will interest everyone, so that they won't just tune in for 10 minutes and go. That's one of our goals. So what are we doing? There will be the normal Rosh Hashanah service, 2 days, but the first day is Shabbos. And you don't blow the shofar on Shabbos. So most of what's going on Rosh Hashanah that will be different, or that will be happening, will happen on Sunday, the second day. Tashlich will happen. Shofar blowing will happen. It will be live through our virtual systems. But there'll be other times when you can hear the shofar. If you want to hear the shofar live in person, Tashlich is going to happen at 1:30 on Sunday. The service is projected to end no later than 12:30. Actually, because there are some things we just can't do virtually, the service will be shorter. But we expect to substitute some things in the service that I mentioned that might bring the time back up a little bit. But we project that it will end no later than 12:30. Tashlich will be at 1:30 at Owen Fish Park normally. And we'll do some other things to let you hear the shofar. We contemplate a drive-through shofar blowing in our parking lot at 4 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. You'll get information about how to pre-register for that if you want to do it. Unfortunately, a lot of things have to be pre-registered because we have to keep control over how many people can be in our parking lot at one time, but we're going to make maximum use of the facilities that we can use, and that's one of them. So let me move to Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur, like always, is a jam-packed day, but with the COVID virus, we have to do some different things to allow you to participate. One of the things we're going to do is allow you to do what you would do at Nila, what we know that 150 people have done in the past, and that is have a personal meditation in front of the ark. And the way we're going to do that is, again, it's a pre-registration situation, but between 1:30 and 3:30, you will be able to come at a specified time, come into the actual sanctuary at Congregation Bethel, go to in front of the ark, have your moment of meditation, and then clear the building, and then the next person will come, and we'll have a strict schedule, and you'll know what your time is, as long as you're pre-registered. Now, how do we do this and keep everyone safe and keep the building sanitized? Steve Rabifker has a sanitation system that we've used already. Asher and Steve will make sure that the sanctuary is sanitized and the building is sanitized as people come and go. At 4 o'clock on Yom Kippur, there will be the annual plaque dedication, memorial plaque dedication. 4:30 is Yisker. Now, one of the highlights of Yom Kippur is always the Havdalah service. And actually, Nila, we have a fairly small group of people who start with Nila. By the time it ends, there's sometimes over 400 people there. We hope to replicate that in a different way. We hope to have a Havdalah service in the parking lot. Again, we ask you to pre-register for it. We know that the young people during their service will be learning a song, which they'll present at Havdalah. In effect, we hope to have a drive-in Havdalah. Now, you won't be able to park in the parking lot because we're going to have people there and we have to socially distance them, but that's what's going to go on for Havdalah. I had mentioned the Pasternak's presenting prior to Kol Nidra. The choir will be a part of our high holidays. The choir will be pre-recorded. And let me talk about Machzor distribution. We have enough Machzorim to service our entire congregation. And we're going to be distributing the Machzorim over 3 days. I think you got a notice today about that. So that anyone who needs a Machzor can have one free of charge from us. You have to return it, but it's going to be there for you. Also, the Sisterhood is doing a distribution, in effect, a goodie bag for every congregant. Things that you use on the high holidays, you'll find in that bag. That's part of what everyone is going to get. The bag keeps growing as we get more ideas. And that's another thing that's happening. There's plenty more I could talk about, but we need to move on with the program. I just want you to know that this has always been a moving and growing set of ideas that we're trying to make happen. If you have something that you would like us to do, if there's something that you need us to hear about, if there's something you want us to read, you can talk, you can call, you can email, which is easier, any one of us on the task force. And let me tell you who has been working on this from the beginning. Liz obviously put it together and twisted my arm and made me the chair. And Wally Zuckerman, Andrea Patton, Dr. Sam Stinson, Rabbi Kormis, Rob Teicher. Who am I missing? I hope I'm not missing anybody.
Jane Hillman.
Jane Hillman, absolutely. And Steve Rabifker. Thank you, guys.
Erica Wright.
Erica Wright, absolutely.
Susan Mittag.
Susan Mittag.
And Jenny Cookmack was with us for a bit. So.
Thank you, everybody. It's the only thing I didn't write down because I knew I'd remember it, right? Okay. Well, thanks, everybody. Any one of those people, if you need to talk about this, if you want to share something with us, if you don't feel comfortable talking later on in the program and asking us questions, please email us. Let us know, because we make changes constantly in what we're trying to do, hopefully to try to make it better for everyone and add things that are unique. So let me send it back to Liz.
Okay, thank you, Rick. And thank you, Rick, for becoming the chair of this committee. I don't think we would be where we are without you right now. So I'm going to go to the next slide, which I'm going to ask Rabbi Kormis to talk about what to expect within the actual spiritual pieces of our service. Rabbi?
Thank you, Liz, and thank you, Rick, for chairing our High Holiday Task Force. and you just mentioned the names of the many people who have been participating. We have been meeting every single week, every Sunday morning for about 2 hours every week. So you can see the amount of work that we have been putting to make these high holidays a very special experience for all of us. A couple of months ago, I wrote a piece in our bulletin talking about how our synagogues have been transformed into the new Yavne. You know, after the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem, the sages and the rabbis moved from Jerusalem to Yavne, and they recreated Judaism there. And they were very resilient and creative. And that's how we are here right now, because they had the vision and they had the leadership in order to overcome a huge challenge as the destruction of the Second Temple. And I feel that in a certain way, we are transforming our Jewish experience today. Certainly, you know, transforming our in-person service into a virtual experience has taken a lot of our hard work and time, and you can feel that on Shabbat. We have been offering different activities as classes and activities for the school and for the younger families and for adults. And we have migrated everything that was in person online. So that's really a huge undertaking from our synagogue. And I'm so glad to see many people who have been participating in morning minyan, Shabbat services, and the different activities that we have been offering. But there is probably not any other activity like, or not any other experience like the high holidays. The high holidays is the time when we all gather together, when we all come to see each other, to participate in the service, and you know, to socialize, because that's also part of who we are as a congregation. And I think, as I hope many of you watched the video that we sent at the very beginning of the promotion of our virtual high holidays. It's really painful, and it's painful to me not to see, you know, many of you in person. But I think that what we are trying to provide to the synagogue is something that will really resonate with many of you. Today we are beginning the month of Elul, which is really the preparation for the holidays. So we have, you know, 30 days until Rosh Hashanah, and then 40 days until Yom Kippur.
Rabbi, you're muted. Rabbi, you're muted.
Oh, there we go.
Huh?
I don't know why that
Can you
happened.
hear me now?
Yes.
Oh, good. I'm sorry.
And
So, Rick,
I can't see everybody. How do I do that?
So Rick lay out a number of the activities and different elements that we are planning for the service. I would like to highlight some of them because I really would like to invite you to participate, and I would like to invite you to be involved during the service, as we are trying to make services as participatory as possible this year. So we are planning to include some personal stories, and those stories are going to be about repentance, the same way we have been done in the past, in previous years. And we are also planning to include some stories about the spiritual side of the pandemic, and some personal stories about how you connect to the high holidays in particular, and what's the relevance for you, and how you live the high holidays when you were a kid, when you were growing up with your parents, with your grandparents. So we cannot assure you that we're going to choose all the stories that you send us, but we'll try to choose as much as we can so we can enrich the service. We're also planning to use our creative alhet that we have creating every year, and we have been updating it every year, and it really reflects the different elements of our personal journey of repentance. And hopefully, you know, we're going to be able to add some lines that are going to be connected to the pandemic and the time that we are living now. We're also going to have the choir. It's going to be pre-recorded, and Dr. Sam will talk about it in a few minutes. And we also have included some new English readings because the service, you know, since it's not going to take place in person, there's some honors and some participation that's not going to happen, like Hagva and Gelila, opening the ark or carry the Torah. So we would like to give we would like to enrich the service by adding more English readings. So some of those readings, you're going to find them in the left margin of the Mahzor, and those are beautiful, inspiring readings. And we are also including some traditional readings that we have been doing, such as a prayer for the IDF and a prayer for the US military. And we are going to also include some English reading for healing, for the community, for the House of Israel, and prayers that I hope that will enrich our service and our spiritual experience. Now, we are mindful to the fact that it's very hard for people to stay a long time in front of a screen, and therefore we have shortened the traditional service that we have on the holidays for about, so we have shortened the service in about 1 hour and 15 minutes. So we are very mindful to the fact that we want people to stay engaged and connected. Of course, we know that some people may want to, you know, take a little break, and they can, you know, mute themselves and stop their camera, you know, and have a little break, and then hopefully come back to the service. But we acknowledge the fact that we needed to take out some parts of the service in order to make it more interactive and include these other parts that we hope will enrich our spiritual experience. So,
Rabbi,
yes.
how can I see everybody?
So at the end of the presentation, I assure you, you will be able to see everybody. And when people are asking questions, okay? But at this point, I'm just trying to spotlight the speakers.
So I'll be happy to hear your feedback, and if you have some ideas. And so that's for now. And I'm gonna turn it over to Dr. Sam, who will talk about music, the children's programming, and a few other elements of our high holiday experience.
Thank you, Rabbi, and shalom, everyone. I hope you're all doing very well. I have been working with the choir. We just started meeting again in person for 1 hour per week outside with masks, taking all precautions. And even with all those precautions, it's been just lovely to be able to sing in a group again. We're in an interesting time for the performing arts world, not to go on a tangent, but nearly everyone who is a performer is currently not allowed to do their job of performing. And I've been more grateful than ever to be a part of this community, because it means that I get to continue singing, which is something I feel very privileged to be able to do right now. But I was still missing singing in a group, which is of course what the choir does. And so the fact that we've been able to do that again, even in very strict and unusual circumstances, has been a real joy. And so what we've been able to do is learn how to record ourselves singing in such a way that it can be combined and spliced together to make a virtual video. I'm by no means an expert at this, but I've been playing around a lot with various video platforms. And so right now we're actually, almost all of us have submitted the first video recording, and that should actually be available as sort of a preview, thank you, Rick, next week for everyone to enjoy. And then for the High Holy Day services themselves, we'll have many, actually, I think we've surmised that we can make quite a few of these favorite selections that you'll remember from years past. And those will be beautifully interspersed throughout our virtual service experience. So I'm very excited for that. In addition, one of the special elements that we'll be able to offer is the Pasternak family, including their children. So Rehan and Igor, but also Leon and Ada, who spent most of the past 5 months with the family. The 4 of them were able to record together as a quartet, which I understand is something they did in years past when the children were younger. And so the fact they've been able to do it again, especially now that both of their children are professional musicians as well, they made a really, really beautiful arrangement for Kol Nidre that I'm very excited for everyone to see. So that's
Sam.
the.
May I just mention that her name is Ada?
I'm so sorry, Ada. Forgive me, Rehan.
Right. And if my sister, who is the first violin of the string quartet, if she heard you say calling us quartet, she would be so offended. Because quartet usually applies to string quartet strictly.
Okay, I didn't say
why.
string though. I think I just said family quartet.
Right, but they don't say that.
Okay, what would you call yourselves?
I don't know, but I'm just joking. But I said when somebody wrote Connecticut.
Well, listen, if you have an official title, tell me so that we can present it properly with the video. Please, whatever it is, it's phenomenal what you've done. So I'm very excited for the whole congregation to share in it. And then we also have children's programming to offer as we have in years past. We once again have Hannah Gale, Rehan, and Gary Norton set up to lead the virtual family programming. And in addition, we have our 8th grade teacher, Noah Gordon, who is also the leader of the newly formed Bethel teen youth group. The teens will be participating as well in these services. And so there will be 2 separate Zoom meetings set up, one for the young family service, one for the junior congregation. You'll register for them separately. And while one service is going on, for example, the young family service, which will happen first in the morning, it will be going on simultaneous to the main service. And while it is going on, there will be additional programming available for those young congregants of junior congregation age, led by Gary and Noah. And there will be a combination of, I think I wrote tactile activities. So, I mean, activities that one can do in their home, either prior to the holiday for participation during the service, or halachically sanctioned crafts to do as well, which will be sent home in advance. In addition, there will be some virtual games and activities led by Noah and Gary for the junior congregation, and then by Hannah for the young families as well. So we're hoping to be able to keep your children happy and occupied during the duration or for the duration of the main service as well.
Great. Thank you, Sam, Dr. Sam, thank you. And so I'm going to ask Steve to share with us what the dress rehearsal will look like, the production, and our tech support for the congregation. So Steve?
Good evening, everyone. If we can go to the next slide.
Yep, 1 second. I'm just gonna pin you. Hold on a second. Okay, yep.
We are still in the process of finalizing the presentation for the high holidays. All services on the eve of Rosh Hashanah through the concluding service will be broadcasted. The service is going to be broadcasted through either the live streaming platform that we currently have or a third-party streaming service in conjunction with Zoom. I know there's been a lot of concern from some people who tune in on a regular basis that maybe the audio or video quality will not be what you would want to see. Let me assure you, we are using a professional company, and the quality of the service broadcast from both the audio as well as the video will be top notch. It may not be an MSNBC or CNBC quality level, but we will have technical director, audio and video people there working in conjunction with myself to ensure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. Congregants who have honors or readings will be supplied with the Zoom information prior to the holidays. They will include a link and the time you need to be on Zoom. Similar to the way you received your card in the mail that said you had the second Aliyah, or you had an ARC opening on page 225 and the report to the front of the sanctuary at a certain time. It's going to be very similar to that. Instead of going to the sanctuary, you're going to go on Zoom. Once you're on Zoom, we ask that you have your name and your video turned on, and mute yourself, please. And we will let you know when it is time for you to go on. Please be prepared, because when we go, you're going to be part of the service. So we would like to keep it flowing and everyone comfortable. So if there's any problems or anything like that, please feel free to contact myself, or there's other people who we'll talk about a little later on who can offer you services to help get any tech issues or questions that you have answered and addressed, so you feel comfortable doing this. Can I go to the next page?
Mm-hmm.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
We have looked at over 11 companies to assist with the high holiday production. We have narrowed the selection down to 2 companies, and the final decision is going to be made in the next couple of days. There's one company I'm leaning to that has done this multiple times. They're very professional, and they know exactly what we want to do and how to do it and to make it work. We do have contingency plans in place if we have a situation that took place a couple weeks ago where we lose internet, power, or anything like that. We will have power lines feeding from the generator in the building to the sanctuary to make sure that we do have power and lighting to ensure the service can go on. Plus, we have several backups to the internet in case Cablevision does go out. Hopefully not, but we do have backups in place, so we will be
Somebody please tell me how I can get everybody.
We are going to have a detailed rehearsal of the production on September 8th. Prior to everyone getting together, the company is going to come in and we're going to lay everything out, and we'll be meeting this week, next week with them, and the following weeks to fine tune everything that is going to be taking place. So all the bugs, kinks, issues are going to be worked out, and we're hoping for as smooth of a production as possible and to make this as meaningful as possible under the circumstances that we're dealing with right now.
Rabbi, would you please tell me how?
The final thing that we're going to talk about is Dr. Sam has created a Team Torah Tech Squad, and they work in conjunction with myself. And if you need help getting on Zoom, live streaming, using your computer, how to activate video, audio, or any concerns that you may have, myself or one of these people will help you address those issues so that you feel comfortable and you can get an enriching service over these days of repentance and high holidays. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. And so I'm just going to go and stop sharing my screen, and so everybody can now see each other. Before I do take questions, there's a few questions in the chat. I do want to mention we're very grateful to Susan Freed for creating this beautiful logo that is our theme for this year, From Our House to Your House. We're very grateful. And I also do want to mention in the last e-news and last week, we mentioned that Men's Club is now taking porch family photos. And we're hoping if you do sign up to have your family's photos taken, we're hoping to use your photos within our service at different times. So that's just an added thing I just wanted to reiterate. So I'm going to look at the chat. Okay, there aren't really questions, but we've got some. Thank you for to Sally Kleiman for appreciating our ideas that she mentioned. They are terrific, so we're thrilled to have that. If you do have a question, if you would like to just raise your hand. Thank you, Rick. And then I will call on you and I'll unmute you at that point. So does anyone have any questions? Len, okay. Steve, can you unmute him? I can't unmute him for some reason. Here we go.
Hold on one second, I'm looking for him.
Okay. Yeah, I can't for some reason. I think you have the control. Okay,
Go ahead.
there you go. Lanny?
Yeah,
Yes. Did you want to ask a question?
my question is, I'm not very familiar with all of this technology, so I'd like somebody to tell me what I have right now is what I want all the time. How do I get to that?
So we're actually really fortunate. Steve just mentioned that we have a Torah tech team. So I'd be happy to ask Dr. Sam to reach out to one of our teenagers to reach out to you, and they'll be able to guide you to make sure, you know, when you do go on Zoom, you're able to see the community, which is really lovely.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I'll put you
You're
on my list right now, Lenny, okay?
Yeah. Any questions?
Lenny, you look great.
Okay, I have a question.
Show Kersham
So,
back.
hold on one second.
I'm not sure what it is.
Okay, so the question is, when will we have a schedule of the service, such as the Torah, Haftorah, etc.? So Rick, do you want to answer that?
I'll do my best with that. I know that the schedule of honors have been delivered to Susan, so it's just a function of
Pushing
getting
that button and saying,
them out from the office. So everyone will know very soon what their honors are. And one thing I wanted to mention, Steve had it on his PowerPoint. The next to the last item was rehearsal on September 8th. It's a production rehearsal. It's very important that our production company actually sees whoever is going to have an honor and who's going to be live on the Zoom to actually show up for the rehearsal, so that we know when people are coming in, we know how to alert them. We hope to have a 5 to 10 minute alert for anyone who is supposed to have an honor on any of the 3 days, that they'll be alerted. So you're going to know that fairly quickly, and then once you do know that, please respond. What often happens is people don't respond to their actual honors, and on the day of, Wally has to run around searching for people in the sanctuary. We won't have anybody in the sanctuary to tap this year. So please get back to Susan saying that you'll accept your honor. Please let us know, and be mindful of the timing, because if the timing doesn't work on this, we have a problem. So please help us out like that. That's the best answer I can give, Liz.
Okay, great. And yes, and please join the dress rehearsal. If you are offered an honor, it is critical that you do participate in the dress rehearsal on September 8th. The question also, so I believe the schedule of the service will be sent out in a couple weeks as well. Another question is, how are we going to capture feedback from Rosh Hashanah that may be helpful for Yom Kippur? So usually the Spiritual Life Committee meets between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to do exactly that. to talk about what went well, what can be tweaked, and so forth. So I'm pretty confident that will happen with this as well, and we'll definitely include the High Holiday Task Force into that conversation. There's another question, and then I'll call on Rick. Can you give us start and end times of services, as well as general times for Torah service, sermon, Yizkor, etc.? Rabbi, would you like to give some insight about that?
Yes, sure. So this is a very tentative schedule because this is the first time we're going to be doing this. So what I can share with you is, you know, a tentative schedule that we are hopeful that it will work, but there are certain things that, you know, we can just try to get our best estimate of time. So service Rosh Hashanah, the first morning and the second morning would normally start at 9 a.m. So we are thinking that the Torah reading will take place around 9:50. Then we think that the Haftorah will be around 10:20, 10:25. The sermon will be around 10:50 or 11 a.m. And the service will be over hopefully by 12:15, around that time, 12:30 maximum. But again, it's very hard to predict and to know with certainty because it's the first time that we're not going to have some of the honors and some of the elements that we would have every year. So that's the schedule for the first and the second morning of Rosh Hashanah. Regarding Yom Kippur, Kol Nidre will start around 6 p.m. And then we envision to finish around 7:30, 7:45, maybe, depending how long the president's speech is going to be. Then the next morning, the Yom Kippur morning, every year starts at 9 a.m. So we think that from 9 to 10, we'll have the Shacharit service, 9 to 9:50, maybe 9 to 9:50. At that time, it's gonna be the Torah reading, and then the Haftorah will take place around 10:35, 10:40. And then the sermon will be around 11 a.m. and the Musaf will start after the sermon. And our best estimate is that the service will be over by around 1 p.m., 1:15, maybe around that time. And then we have the Yizkor service at 4:30, and then the Ne'ilah service and Yom Kippur will be over by 7:23 p.m. So those are the estimate times, and that's what we're planning.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rabbi. And I just want to mention, someone just commented that they just were able to get on to the Zoom presentation. It is being recorded, so it will be shared with the congregation in hopefully a couple of days. And before I call on someone, Rayhan and Igor would like to acknowledge Dr. Sam's expertise and express an utmost appreciation of her hard work with both technology and music for the choir recordings. Sam, you are outstanding. So toda roba.
I blush, thank you.
Good. Good. It's always a good opportunity to share awesome, great things in front of all of our community, which we have about 42 people zooming in, which is actually could be close to 84. So it's good. Any other questions? Do I see anyone? Rick, did you have a question before?
I wanted to respond to whoever asked about feedback. Feedback's important. And I suggested to you in my earlier remarks that anything that you would like to tell us, you should email someone on the committee. One of the problems between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur this year And let me just say, I hope this is the last year we have to do a virtual service, as do most of you. So, but
Especially
one of
me.
the problems with making adjustments between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur is, remember, it's all electronic. It all has to be planned out. While the rabbi gave you approximate time, realistically, we've got this year more than any other year, we have to try to stick to whatever our pre-planning is, because it's going to be hard with the production company to make adjustments on the fly. Glitches are going to happen, but so let me go back to feedback. Please let us know any comments you have. The High Holiday Task Force may meet more than once during the Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. We discussed this at Spiritual Life Committee meeting the other night. It's important to have that feedback. I got feedback the other day, which resulted in us recording this meeting tonight. So, I mean, those are good things for us to know. We've got a month to go, actually a day less than a month to go. So, and we're going to be tweaking this thing between now and Erev Rosh Hashanah. But once that happens, it's a lot harder.
Erev Yom Kippur.
Well, that too. But once we get there, it's real hard to make a lot of changes. But we'll do the best we can with that stuff. So bear with us on the changes, but don't hesitate to make suggestions, because we can probably do them if we know them.
Yeah, thank you, Rick. Any other questions? Jack? Oh, let's unmute you first. Steve, I'm like at a loss right now.
I'm getting there.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
I think he's clicking as I'm on.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Jack,
So,
go ahead.
crazy question. So those of us who have been working at home during the pandemic have gone from, business clothes and business casual to casual clothing. What are we doing for synagogue for the high holidays? Are we leaving our suits in the closet? And ladies, are you leaving your fancy dresses in the closet? Are we going casual? What's the deal?
So I think I'm going to respond to that. So obviously it's your choice. My recommendation is to really try to have these days special and different than what your normal day is in a normal work day. And that's one of the reasons why I was so intent on sending the ideas about creating your own sacred space at home, which one of those ideas is to, dress a little different than you would have during the day. Now, obviously it's your choice, but I think it's important to try to create some type of separation, because these days are very important and they're holy, and we do want to try to make them different than our normal weeks are. So, but so it's your choice.
Okay.
But as I said, it is the high holidays, and your comfort.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Wally? Steve, are you getting to him?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Problem
Sorry.
is that people
Oh,
are
I got
clicking
him.
at the
I think.
same time.
Okay. Wally, don't click.
What happens is it keeps changing the location as they.
Okay.
Bear with me for a second.
You want me to try it?
In the meantime, I just want to say, Jack, that there's a word that I want to use this year, and the word is partnership. I think that this year we need a partnership between those running the service and providing the experience and people participating. I think that we have that every year, but this year we should, work harder than any other year. Bringing ourselves into the service, creating a sacred space at home, making the holidays different and relevant from any other day of the week or every other, any other celebration. So I think that we are working harder than usual, and everyone will have to work harder than usual to make the holidays relevant and different. Thanks.
So I was going to bring up the point that Jack raised in terms of what to be wearing. And I think that really we should be thinking of what is appropriate. I mean, appropriate clothing for the high holidays doesn't mean you have to put on a tuxedo, but at least dress nicely. Nobody wants to see your pajamas. And not only that, but if you're going to be on camera, and we all are going to be on camera, you'll also be cognizant of what your actions are while you're on camera for everybody else to see you. So there are different times when you may want to leave the meeting. That's fine. Don't take your computer with you when you're leaving the meeting to do something that's not part of the service. That was the point I wanted to make.
Thank you, Wally. Thank you. Yes, Sam? Oh, hold on, we have to unmute you.
I wasn't raising my hand. No. Sorry. Different Sam?
Yeah.
Sam Lassinger.
Sam Lassinger.
We cannot hear you, Sam.
Yes, one moment, Sam.
So in the meantime, since I'm, interjecting here, I have a suggestion for all of us for Yom Kippur, for the dress code. Wear white, wear a nice white shirt or skirt or wear white for Yom Kippur.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Are you ready for me?
We are.
Okay, I'm just following up on the dress. In terms of talesim, we will be sitting home. Would it be appropriate to wear the talis, not wear the talis?
Yes, certainly yes. So it's interesting, Sam, because during morning minyan, we see people wearing talit and tefillin from home, and participating in our morning minyan from home. I would like to encourage everyone who's participating today in our Zoom call to join us through Zoom, hopefully, so we can see your face, and to join us for morning minyan, 7:30 every day. And
is that directed to me?
Well, not only to you, everyone who's watching, right? It's interesting because, you should wear a talit, and it's very nice to see people wearing talit and tefillin during morning minyan. So yes, you should wear your talit as usual.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Rabbi. Any other questions? Does anyone have to scroll through these? No questions? Okay. Well, as Rick had mentioned, you can always reach out to any of the high holiday task force to, to ask any questions that might arise after we adjourn for the night. As I mentioned earlier, the High Holiday Task Force has been meeting. Everyone actually has mentioned this, that we've been meeting weekly and working really hard to create a wonderful, engaging, participatory, meaningful service. I'm confident this will occur, and I'm very excited to see all of you at the High Holidays. And again, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. But thank you for joining us.
Have a good night. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Photos. Not here. Very nice. Website. Look at this. everyone see it. Cancel. Ronnie. No picture.